hillsshuttle.com.
Good evening and welcome to Newswatch, your source for all news impacting southeastern Ohio. I'm Taylor Bruck. Thanks for joining us. At least 17 Ohioans have been hospitalized in recent months as a result of e-cigarettes or vaping, according to a report from the Ohio Department of Health. Nationally, at least 8 people have died, with over 500 needing hospital treatment for the same reason. Some states are considering bans on the sale of vape products, and according to the Athens City Council Health Commissioner Dr. James Gaskell, there's no way of knowing how bad the long-term effects of vaping could be.
We have no long-term history with vaping. Vaping has only been around for a few years. We know the consequences of smoking cigarettes, and it's not good. So I think that in a way what we're doing is exchanging one evil for another evil, if you will, or one unhealthy product for another unhealthy product, with the notion that vaping is going to be better.
Last week, Ohio Governor Mike DeWine voiced his concern about vaping adults using vape products. According to the CDC, over half of all people hospitalized for vaping-related illness are under 25 years old.
Sir Adelaide Carlich. And today we're looking at some rain for the first time in a while. It's definitely one of those days where it's just been raining for most of the day. Here, 7-day outlook here. Wednesday is going to be 85 and 58. Thursday's 83. Right now it's 77 in Athens. Humidity 64. Winds to the west at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And I will send it back to Taylor.
Thanks, Adelaide. A group of pleasure boaters and their sternwheelers are heading down to the Ohio River toward home. They left Sunday at dawn after spending time docked in Pomeroy for a festival last week. Newswatch reporter Connor Keurig spent time with boat captains at the town's annual regatta. Connor, what makes these boats so special?
Well, Taylor, these boats, if it's not for their bright colors or large size or historic importance, these boats were a part of history that's often overlooked in southeast Ohio. Early commerce on the Ohio River. Stern wheels were essential because they could maneuver through shallower, not so wide parts of the river. For visitors, the regatta was like a living outdoor museum. For the boat owners, this was some much needed rest and relaxation.
At the downtown Pomeroy riverfront sits 12 historic boats, icons from another era. Once a key part of early commerce on the Ohio River, these boats now serve as homes and showcases of history. They are here for the Pomeroy Sternwheel Regatta, a 3-day festival on Main Street featuring food, music, a raffle, plenty of games and competitions, and what organizer John Lehue calls the loudest fire truck parade in Ohio.
Everything we are doing here is family friendly and to promote boating and to promote the town of Pomeroy.
Many of these boats were built by their owners. John and his son David built their boat, the William D., together. John's a member of the Pomeroy Eagles Club, which hosts the festival and brings all these boaters to town. And that's something the Wendells, owners of the oldest boat on the levee, have been thankful for since they bought the Rufus B2 18 years ago. Linda says the regatta is like a vacation for her.
Everybody's entertaining to each other and we enjoy it. It's just like a home away from home.
Linda's husband, Lou, says the camaraderie is what keeps him coming back every year.
You know, if one of the boats breaks down, one of the other captains will stop and pick them up, give them assistance to help them get back to shore. And it's a great feeling to be among friends like this.
The stern wheel owners share meals, wine, conversation, and even the space on their boats with each other. The Rufus B2 was built in 1926 by a Chicago attorney who went by the name Lamback. Lamback even defended Al Capone, and Lou says Capone would have spent lots of time in this boat. Lou says he worries that this part of history is vanishing, but seeing the interest of hundreds of visitors who come to Pomeroy, keeps his hopes and these boats afloat.
The Rufus B2 has traveled over 30,000 miles of rivers, and that's just one boat of 12. The Wendell's neighbors on the dock own a stern wheel that used to be a towboat built in 1954. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Connor Keurig.
Thank you, Connor. Tomorrow, a powerful exhibit will fill Ohio University's College Green. This event will be emotional and is dedicated to supporting mental health education at colleges around the country. WOUB reporter Anna Hoffman has more on what observers should expect from this display and the connection the cause has to the Athens community.
Today, College Green is silent. Tomorrow, this space will be filled with people, emotions, and stories. The Send Silence Packing exhibit travels the country to end silence that surrounds mental illness. Ohio University's Counseling and Psychological Service Center will be hosting the event that was created by the Active Minds nonprofit organization.
It'll be really visually striking, I hope, that really meaningful to walk by.
Active Minds was started in 2003 by Allison Malman, who was a junior in college when she lost her 22-year-old brother to suicide. Ohio University has an Active Minds chapter. They work each day to let college students struggling from mental illness know they are not alone.
Mental health concerns can be isolating, and so we want, as a campus community, to reach out a hand to people who are isolated and say that support is here.
Tomorrow's display is a step toward putting an end to the silence.
Each backpack placed on College Green will represent the 1,110 college students that die by suicide each year. These backpacks are not just for show. They will each contain a personal story from someone who has lost a loved one to suicide.
2 of the backpacks are being donated from families of Ohio University students. One backpack will be coming from the Griffin family, whose 22-year-old son, Ross Griffin, took his own life in February 2018, just 2 months before graduation. The Griffin family were the ones to bring the idea of this exhibit to Ohio University.
It's kind of like surreal.
Josh was a friend of Ross's. He met him as a freshman and looked up to Ross as a senior mentor.
It's like a normal day with everybody. Like literally, like all of us were like literally together on that night. It was like kind of weird, and it just happened.
Ross showed no signs of mental illness, like so many others. He was always described as happy. That is why the Griffin family created the Ross Griffin Memorial Foundation, dedicated to helping the many other college students like Ross who feel they have to remain silent.
I just feel it's important to raise awareness for this because you never know what can happen next.
For WOUB News, I'm Anna Hoffman.
Trained professionals will be attending tomorrow's event for those who need someone to talk to or just want to learn more about mental illness. If you or one of your loved ones is struggling from mental illness, speak up and make an appointment or call the Counseling and Psychological Service Center at any time. The UN Climate Change Summit had an unexpected guest this weekend. And General Motors employees are still on strike, and they're not alone. See how they've gained support. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
You'll be charmed when Loretta Lynn, the queen of country, shares her music and memories.
I looked at the songbook and thought, well, heck, this is easy. So I threw the songbook down and wrote my own songs.
She made it okay for women to go, yeah.
I just sang.
Look for Loretta Lynn on American Masters.
On country music, Vietnam divides America.
Rednecks, hippies, anti-Vietnam, pro-Vietnam.
Bob Dylan meets Johnny Cash.
Dylan and Dad together, that was an explosion.
And Chris Christopherson comes to Nashville.
Chris Christopherson is probably the best songwriter. Compare Chris with Gershwin or anybody else.
When country music continues, only on PBS.
What's up? My name is Joseph Hennessy. I am the host of the 21st season of Gridiron Glory. We are super excited to be back on the air. Make sure to tune in every Friday night at 11:30 p.m. on WUB PBS, and make sure to keep up with all of our social media on Facebook, Twitter, and on Snapchat. Now, just a couple of these teams. Did Jackson come out of the FAC? Is River Valley the dark horse? Who knows? Make sure to keep watching. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
If anyone ever knew the recipe for a successful life, she did.
I'm Julia Child.
Julia Child. Who was she before she cracked her first egg? And how did she become America's favorite chef?
It didn't matter what she was doing. She was having fun while she was doing it. And you got swept up in that.
If I can do it, you can do it, and here's how to do it.
Take a fond look at Julia on American Masters.
Bon appetit.
It's been a week since General Motors' contract expired with the United Auto Workers Union. Members asked people to join them on the picket lines for Solidarity Sunday. As Britt Soleil reports, the goal is to show support for the workers who have been striking around the clock.
I don't know as far as money-wise, like how long I could last or go on, but I'm still going to fight and I'll still be out here.
Karima Weatherby has pulled 2 picket shifts on her first strike as a GM worker. While she sees how it can be hard for people, she says that they've seen a steady stream of support from the community, and some have even donated supplies like food and water to the strikers. Those acts of kindness are part of what keep her spirits up as the 2 parties negotiate a new 4-year contract.
I can't speak for everybody, but for me, it makes it easier to see everybody out here and doing their part, and it makes you want to come out and stand up for what you believe in and what you support.
Some allies were more visible in their support of the cause. Angie Betcher does not work at GM, but said that regardless of profession, union workers stick together.
I'm with the National Association of Letter Carriers. Part of being a union is solidarity, and so when this union is struggling, it's workers, and workers are workers. It doesn't matter what union you belong to, so showing solidarity is really important.
The UAW leaders have said that some progress has been made, but so far a deal has not been reached. The workers will receive strike pay of $250 a week should they hit the 15-day mark, but for many workers that is a drastic cut from their weekly pay. Trump's denial of pressuring the Ukraine president came on the heels of the UN summit. But despite the allegations coming out of Washington about the president, another topic took center stage at the summit: climate change. Dozens of heads of states proposed their ideas for the environment, while in the nation's capital, protesters voiced their concerns. Karen Kafa has what was discussed.
President Trump was expected to skip a UN summit on climate change entirely, but decided to make a brief appearance.
I'm a big believer in clean air and clean water, and all countries should get together and do that, and they should do it for themselves.
Trump had a session on religious freedom scheduled to overlap, but attended for about 15 minutes. The climate summit speakers invited to come with firm proposals for change.
From the beginning, I said the ticket to entry is not a beautiful speech, but concrete action.
Angela Merkel, for example, pledged to double Germany's climate protection funding.
Internationally, we shall increase our funding for global climate protection from 2 to 4 billion euros.
The summit comes on the heels of Friday's youth climate strike held worldwide. 16-year-old activist Greta Thunberg told leaders Monday to take the crisis more seriously.
The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you.
French President Emmanuel Macron said young voices like Thunberg should be encouraged.
We need our young people in our countries to tell us to work faster. We need the young people to help us to change things.
Elsewhere in the nation's capital Monday morning, climate activists brought rush hour traffic to a standstill to bring attention to the climate cause. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Superheroes left the comic books and took the streets of Athens over the weekend for a good cause. That story still ahead.
Way, but summer still has some fighting left in him. And here's your stats of local interest.
You'll be charmed when Loretta Lynn, the queen of country, shares her music and memories.
I looked at the songbook and thought, well, heck, this is easy. So I threw the songbook down and wrote my own songs.
She made it okay for women to go, yeah.
I just sang.
Look for Loretta Lynn on American Masters.
On country music, Vietnam divides America.
Rednecks, hippies, anti-Vietnam, pro-Vietnam.
Bob Dylan meets Johnny Cash.
Dylan and Dad together, that was an explosion.
And Chris Christopherson comes to Nashville.
Chris Christopherson is probably the best songwriter. Compare Chris with Gershwin or anybody else.
When country music continues, only on PBS.
This month in Passport, your on-demand library of the best of PBS.
Who in blazes are you? Frankie Drake. I'm a private detective. Do you ever solve cases the coppers can't? It's my specialty.
30 feet, 2.5 down. Program alarm.
It was the freedom of being who you were, not feeling that somebody was going to judge you. These and other shows are available with Passport. Go to pbs.org/getpassport and find out how you can start streaming today.
If anyone ever knew the recipe for a successful life, she did.
I'm Julia Child.
Julia Child. Who was she before she cracked her first egg? And how did she become America's favorite chef?
It didn't matter what she was doing. She was having fun while she was doing it. And you got swept up in that.
If I can do it, you can do it, and here's how to do it.
Take a fond look at Julia on American Masters.
Bon appetit.
Today is the first official day of fall, but it may not feel like it where you are. A new forecast from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says all 50 states should see a warmer than average fall. Northern Alaska, the Southwest, and much of New England are most likely to be warm. NOAA's latest prediction reflects this warming trend that has taken place over the past few decades. Hurricane season isn't officially over until November 30th. That means the Gulf Coast and East Coast states could still get soaked.
Hello, welcome back. I'm forecaster Adlai Carwish here, and let's just take a look. Rain is off. Rain is going to be on and off the next couple of days. Fall might actually be here, but summer is not just done yet. Moving along here, we definitely have the high right now is 77 degrees. Humidity is at 64%. Pressure is at 29.90. Wind to the west at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Moving along to checking out the general area. Athens at 77, New Lexington at 80, Columbus at 83, Chillicothe at 81. So all around pretty good for weather-wise. Tonight 52, rains pretty early. Clear after midnight. Winds to the northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Continuing southeastern Ohio. Again, Athens at 51, Jackson at 52, Chillicothe at 53, and Columbus at 54. So all around in the 50s. So make sure you have a jacket if you're out tonight. Let's take a look at tonight. It's going to be pretty cold outside. Tonight it will start out pretty warm. 68 is your at 8 p.m. By 10 p.m. it starts to finish up raining. Some rain still might be there with a 65, and by midnight it's 61, and by that time you start getting in the 50s and clear, and most of the rain will be done by that point. Moving along, tomorrow still 77 degrees. It's going to be a nice warm fall day for being the first day of fall, though the cool morning, we'll get to that later. Winds to the northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Looking all the way through the next day, taking a look at southeastern Ohio. Athens at 77, Chillicothe at 77 as well, Columbus at 78, and Ripley at 79. All sunny. There barely will be clouds in the sky. Have a little bit of cloud cover, but not too much. Moving along here. Tomorrow morning, it's going to start out really cold. If you have any of those early classes or have to get to work early, make sure you bring a jacket. It's only going to be 53 degrees at 8 a.m. By 10 a.m., it's going to warm up very quickly, though, to 63 degrees. A big rise in temp, 70 degrees by noon tomorrow. Moving along here. Through here, and tomorrow, Wednesday, 82. It's going to be mostly sunny day. couple clouds inside, a little windy, winds to the south-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Moving along here, take a look at the precip maps. You're going to see the cold front moving through here. That's tonight. The rain's already pretty much moved through. This is going to be tonight. That cold front moves through, moving along. That high pressure, you're going to see that cold front that was just here yesterday. That high pressure right there is definitely the thing that's going to keep us pretty dry for the next couple of days. And let's take a look at your 7-day outlook here. And it's going to be one of those days where it's 77, 82, 73, 85. Once you hit the weekend, though, that's when the summer temps start to come around. We thought we were done with those. Nope, we're still going to have them Saturday 85, Sunday 88, and Monday. And we're going to have to bid it up to 90. Taylor, I'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Adley. Over the weekend, Athens residents gathered in support of Athens Court-Appointed Special Advocates, or CASA. Saturday was Athens CASA's annual Superhero 5K run, where participants donated money to support advocates of Athens children dealing with neglect, abuse, mental health, and more, before dressing up as superheroes to run a 5K. Lori Austin works at Athens County Integrated Services and was one of those participants. She says the run is a good break from an otherwise serious line of work.
It's also just a fun, different thing to do because during the week it can be serious, and so to hang out with kids and be silly is very important.
All proceeds from Saturday's 5K go towards Athens CASA to help train community volunteers as court-appointed special advocates for children. For more information on how to help out, you can go to athenscasa.org.
I'm Paul Roth, and today in sports, an Ohio football player was honored with a conference award. Plus, the Athens Bulldogs picked up their first win of the season on homecoming night. Next on Newswatch. What's up? My name is Joseph Hennessy. I am the host of the 21st season of Gridiron Glory. We are super excited to be back on the air. Make sure to tune in every Friday night at 11:30 p.m. on WOUB PBS, and make sure to keep up with all of our social media on Facebook, Twitter, and on Snapchat. Now, just a couple of these teams. Did Jackson come out of the FAC? Is River Valley the dark horse? Who knows? Make sure to keep watching. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
On country music, Vietnam divides America.
Rednecks, hippies, anti-Vietnam, pro-Vietnam.
Bob Dylan meets Johnny Cash.
Dylan and Dad together, that was an explosion.
And Chris Christopherson comes to Nashville.
Chris Christopherson is probably the best songwriter. Compare Chris with Gershwin or anybody else.
When country music continues, only on PBS.
You'll be charmed when Loretta Lynn, the Queen of Country, shares her music and memories.
I looked at the songbook and thought, well, heck, this is easy. So I threw the songbook down and wrote my own songs.
She made it okay for women to go, yeah.
I just sang.
Look for Loretta Lynn on American Masters.
If anyone ever knew the recipe for a successful life, she did.
I'm Julia Child.
Julia Child. Who was she before she cracked her first egg? And how did she become America's favorite chef?
It didn't matter what she was doing. She was having fun while she was doing it. And you got swept up in that.
If I can do it, you can do it, and here's how to do it.
Take a fond look at Julia on American Masters.
Bon appetit.
I'm Paul Roth. The Ohio volleyball team was down in Texas over the weekend for the North Texas Challenge.
On Thursday, the Bobcats took down New Mexico with ease, winning 3-0. That was their 6th straight match win, and they only kept things rolling into Friday. They faced Kansas State, and things were much closer that time, though, taking 5 sets, but they still took down the Wildcats. And then finally, the ladies faced North Texas on Saturday, but they couldn't get it done, falling in 3 sets. Now, still, this is now the first time since 2015 the Bobcats beat 2 Power 5 opponents in the same season. But the biggest takeaway from their matchups was the play of Vera Giacomazzi. She set the Ohio 25-point rally scoring record for assists with 74. No player in the 25-point scoring era has ever eclipsed 70. She now has 526 assists on the season, which is good enough for 6th in all of Division I. Now switching from the court over to the gridiron, the Ohio football team lost yet again over the weekend. The Bobcats fell to the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana 45-25. Now Ohio fell behind early and could never recover. The defense held their own in the first half, giving up just 10 points, but the Ohio offense couldn't keep up, turning the ball over 5 times. Nathan Rourke struggled for most of the day, throwing 3 picks and also lost a fumble. But the Bobcats know that there is more to clean up than just the turnovers.
He's been excellent in that regard throughout his time here. Sometimes they do come in bunches, but I think you're right in the assessment that it's just not him. You know, there were a lot of things that broke down today that caused what happened out.
But on a brighter note for the team, kicker Louis Zervos was honored with the MAC East Special Teams Player of the Week. Zervos connected on a 48 and 49-yarder, a season high for him, and he is now 2nd in school history with 63 field goals made. Now to the high school level, the Athens Bulldogs picked up their first win of the season Friday night, beating the Alexander Spartans 28-6. Quarterback Joey Moore was a man on a mission, throwing for 242 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then added another rushing touchdown as well. The Bulldogs will travel to Vinton County on Friday to take on the Vikings. Now to the baseball diamond we go. The Cleveland Indians are still in the hunt for a wild card spot. They were taking on the Philadelphia Phillies last night in Cleveland, and we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Oscar Mercado looking to make something happen, and he gets every bit of this one. Hammerjacks the no-doubter over the left field wall, a 3-run blast. That put the Tribe up 4-1, and they would roll the rest of the way 10-1 final. Now down Interstate 71 to the Cincinnati Reds welcoming the Mets to town, top of the 1st, and Michael Conforto says, thanks for the invite. A towering blast into right field off of Trevor Bauer. That 3-run dinger put the Mets ahead 4-0, and that was all they needed as they ended up finishing them off 6-3. But somewhat of a bright spot for the Reds. This will be the first season since 2014 that they won't lose over 90 games. And you know, Taylor, it should come down to the wire at the end of the season. It'll be interesting to see how the Indians do and if they can get in the playoffs.
Paul, I'm looking forward to seeing how the season wraps up. Thank you. When fall rolls around, it seems like everything is pumpkin spice flavor. Candles, coffee, pastries, but now you can add pumpkin spice Spam to that list. The new limited edition flavor includes hints of cinnamon, clove, allspice, and nutmeg. There are even recipes that include it as one of the ingredients. One suggestion is to dice the Spam on top of a toasted Belgian waffle, add whipped cream, maple, syrup, and nutmeg. Let's go over to Adelaide for one final look at the weather.
And welcome back, everyone. Let's take one final look. Tomorrow, 77 is going to be a nice warm fall day. Cool morning, though. It's going to be the high is 77 degrees and 7-day outlook here. 77 looking forward, and it's going to be a high. And I'll send it back to you, Taylor.
Thank you, Adelaide. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thank you for watching. You can find the latest news anytime at woub.org. Have a great night.
What's up? My name is Joseph Hennessy. I am the host of the 21st season of Gridiron Glory. Make sure to tune in every Friday night on WOUB at 11:30 p.m. and make sure to keep up with all of our social media. Remember,